George Pickens made it known that he's got two dream, quote unquote, dream teammates he would like to play with in the NFL. His first is Ed Reed. Not going to happen. Also, cool choice. Like, gotta respect the choice of Ed Reed. The shout out GP. I mean, that's a good one. It's a good choice. Second,
I was going to say, I'm sure Hines Ward wanted to play with Ed Reed and not against Ed Reed too, but it's a fun choice. I like whenever people do off the wall stuff like that.
Yeah. If you're a Steeler picking a Raven, look, you could have been way worse. You could have said Myles Garrett, which would have helped, the recruitment process there, but still at the same time, and doesn't hold the ground that Ed Reed does. His second was Aaron Rodgers. And everybody talked about it immediately. Nobody held back on their thoughts towards it and about it. I don't think George Pickens was sitting here intentionally recruiting Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I bet you Aaron Rodgers saw it, and I bet you he is well aware that George Pickens would want to play with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So very simply, I'll ask you, because I don't think it goes very deep, but I think it's initial reaction type of conversation. When you saw that, when you read that, however you came across this news, did your brain go, for a quick second, did it picture Aaron Rodgers being in Pittsburgh? Because to me, it did. My brain just flashed Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. And then I was so caught in the loop there that I started thinking about it in a positive light. I was like, there could be worse outcomes, I guess. And then I started thinking about the chaos, and I was like, dude, this is going to be the most, I might not sleep for a whole year. For a full 18 weeks, I might not sleep a drop. I will have to watch every Pat McAfee show. It got deep down the wormhole in seconds. I doubt you did the wormhole. I don't think the wormhole happened. But did you have the flash of Aaron Rodgers in a Steelers uniform?
I didn't spiral to the level that you're saying, but I did have that flash. I thought, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers and George Pickens and Devontae Adams, they could be the three best friends that anybody could have, and then they wouldn't talk to anybody else on the team.
Yeah.
But I also thought about the winking to Mike Tomlin mid-game, all that other stuff, but that all lasted for me about 90 seconds. Then I remembered what we saw from Aaron Rodgers last season and his date of birth. And remembered, he's not among the top 5 options for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So while it is fun, and I understand the timing of when this is sort of hitting mainstream versus when it actually occurred, because George said this before this season, and before the season was also when everybody and their mother was predicting the Jets to be a playoff team behind a resurgent Aaron Rodgers. I'd like to know what George would say today. If somebody said, George, would you rather have Aaron Rodgers or X quarterback that's available this offseason? I'd be interested to see what he said today, but no, it did for a second flash in my mind. Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh would be interesting. And then reality set in. I said, wouldn't be good, would probably still be interesting, but wouldn't be good for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It was a stressful second there. It was I think everybody had it. I think everybody read that or saw that video or whatever and immediately went, duh. Like, that's probably exactly what went down. And I mean, I had it too. I got deep in there. I don't think there's a more chaotic situation in the NFL than George Pickens and Aaron Rodgers in a locker room together, unless Russell Wilson's the backup quarterback, which would be insanity. Like, I'm talking, why? I don't think the NFL would be able to exist anymore. I think that's the final stone. It's done. That's what we've done there. The trifecta. Wild times. Let's play a game though, real fast. Okay. You're George Pickens. Quarterbacks you'd want to play with before Aaron Rodgers this season. I'll toss a couple of them out there. You just, as George Pickens, okay? You got to get in the brain of George Pickens. Do something if you do whatever you got to do if you got to do something.
Okay.
We'll start here. All right. Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Give me Stafford. He won a Super Bowl. He has an arm. He is throwing for over 1,000 yards for a couple different wide receivers. So yeah, Matthew Stafford.
Trevor Lawrence.
No. If I'm George Pickens, I'm looking at that and I'm saying no. He didn't look good last year. He didn't look good the year before that. No, don't give me Trevor Lawrence. And and he's making more money, so it's taken away from the money I could make. So no Trevor Lawrence.
Way to get in the head of George Pickens there. Daniel Jones.
Hell no, not a chance. This guy can run more than he can throw, and I'm a wide receiver. I need you to be able to throw. So no, I don't want Daniel Jones over Aaron Rodgers. If I'm George, yeah.
Justin Fields.
Nope.
Kenny Pickett.
Nope.
Russell Wilson.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay. I figured that would be the toss-up. If I had to guess who George's favorite 2 quarterbacks are right now, that are like realistic, I think it's Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. I think both of them will chuck that football up, and he's well aware that they will throw that football up and that he does not care. He will get it, and they will look for him and him alone. I don't think that he's got that same faith right now in Justin. And I mean, he looked good with Justin, but once Russ got in there, that was George Pickens' time. You know, it was all George Pickens all the time. I think that's what he's looking for. So I agree with you. I like that. I like that list. I think Rodgers and Russell would be his top 2 picks right now. You disagree?
No, I think when it comes to Rodgers versus Russell, if it's George, and again, I did not talk to George. I'm not friends with George, but based on what we saw, I could feel George saying, all right, well, it worked with Russell for a time, but at the end of the season, man, he couldn't do really much of anything else other than throw it up to me. And he didn't even do that in the elite level until the playoff game once I came back from my injury. So I could see him saying, listen, Aaron has that deep ball as well, but Aaron's also going to be able to find me in underneath routes. Aaron's going to be able to throw me open over the middle of the field more than Russell Wilson can. And I think that he's going to say, well, Aaron, if he is another year removed from that Achilles, maybe him and me could be that dynamic duo that him and Devontae Adams were. Even last season when Devontae wasn't great compared to in previous years, Aaron wasn't great compared to in previous years, and the Jets weren't great. One thing that wasn't broke was Aaron to Devontae. So I think George would look at that and be like, yeah, I'd like a little something. I'd like a little bit of that action.
I agree. I think George would be all in on Aaron Rodgers. I think he'd be pumped about Aaron Rodgers. I think everybody offensively would be pumped about Aaron Rodgers. I think it's hard from the inside looking out for players to have the same view of Aaron Rodgers that we would have. It'd be like if Ben went to another team at the end. People would be like, dude, like this guy, did you see him wheelbarrow himself in? Like this, there's nothing left, dude. He carried a leg with him because he couldn't put it on the ground. From the outside, that's what it would be like. On the inside, it'd be like, dude, Ben Roethlisberger's here? That's crazy. Like that's a guy right there. And I think that's what that does. I think that's how a lot of guys, George Pickens included, would view that.